If you are new to this channel and enjoy the content that you see, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on all notifications to be alerted and notified whenever a brand new video is posted onto this channel, along with following me on these social media platforms to stay connected with me at all times. Also, feel free to check out all of your favorite videos and playlists located down in the description box below. Thank you so much for your continued support. Now let's begin. What's up, Dragon Ball fans? The following video you are about to watch is going to be a debate between Ascended Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta versus Android 17 in the Tournament of Power between two members of my Discord server, Fallen, who is going to be in defense of Android 17, and Sin Killmonger, who's going to be in favor of Vegeta. So I hope you guys sit back and enjoy. If you guys have missed out the previous two debates, make sure you guys go ahead and check them out on the channel. And of course, if you guys are new, punch that subscribe button, turn on all notifications for more awesome content like this. So without wasting any more time, I hope you guys sit back and enjoy. Now let's begin.
So first of all, with 17 versus Ascended Blue Vegeta, we already know that the basis of your argument is going to be the fact that 17 managed to stop Jiren's attack. Okay, we're just going to get that shit out the way. One, him stopping Jiren's attack is him disrupting the attack or the way the attack is going. And even if you want to say, oh, he canceled the attack out, that's not indicative to 17's actual power. Because if you look at feats for his actual power, as shown within the episode, then basically you could tell that 17 could do nothing to Jiren whatsoever. 17, he can't damage Jiren whatsoever, including showing the fact that he's not relative to Jiren at all. And of course, you could say neither is ASS Blue Vegeta. But if you're going to do that, and if you're going to try to put them at equivalent scaling, then you can't do that. And also, I already know you're going to bring up the fact that 17 kept coming back more and more to basically come back and fight Jiren, even though he kept on getting tossed on his back, whereas Blue Vegeta and Blue Goku couldn't. Well, you failed to realize that Vegeta had already expended all of his energy when he was fighting Topo and did the final explosion. So he's already running low on reserves right then and there. Even though he managed to go back into Super Saiyan Blue E Vegeta, he couldn't maintain it for long. So we already get all of that, and he was already nearing the end of his rope, which is why he wasn't able to come back up more for more, just like 17 was. And we already established the fact that 17 is infinite stamina. So that point's already relevant too. Now, if you're going to put them on equal ground, let me show you why that's wrong too. That power that overwhelmed 17 in it, Frieza and is far beyond 17. It's talking about God Topo. And then 17 is like, no, when he was talking. So the first scan and the last scan, I mean, the order is kind of messed up. But the first scan and the last scan go together. Topo's like, do you think you can win? Do you think you can defeat me with this amount of power? 17 is like, no. Meaning that he's acknowledging the fact that Topo is stronger than him, even in base form. And then later on stated that this power, that overall Frieza is far beyond number 17's. Meaning that God Topo is far beyond 17. And this is shown by the fact that 17's barrier was getting destroyed by casual blasts. And this is further substantiated by the fact that in the earlier scan that I already posted, Jiren is literally flying through 17's barriers. Versus instead of blasting those barriers, he was literally flying through them casually. Clearly showing that Jiren is that much stronger than 17. And that they're not relative whatsoever. Whereas Vegeta has actually defeated Topo, somebody who's already clear and above, way above Topo. I mean, way above 17, based off his own admission and based off of what the narrative is trying to tell you. So now I'll hand the floor over to you.
I thought we were using just a 127 variation of that. I thought that's like the premise. I don't know why you're bringing up past scaling that's kind of been like debunked by like the newer scaling, unless you can prove that like 17's feats with Jiren are an outlier, but okay. You do realize that like 17 has like relative combat speed to Vegeta, and like just because Vegeta was out of energy doesn't mean he didn't get stronger. So it's like he's fighting and he's still getting boxed by a stronger Jiren. Like the one that was fighting Jiren is stronger and or faster than the one that fought Topo. So I don't understand why you bring that up as an argument. Two, the narrator's statement kind of gets debunked by 17 being able to contest with Jiren and like 1v1ing him when Jiren quite literally charged an attack that one-shotted the blue out of Goku and Vegeta, and then they were done, and 17 was perfectly confident in his full power. So I don't understand why you're doing the linear scaling, because like it stops after a certain number of episodes where characters just jump in power. So just gonna lay that out there. I mean, you do realize that like 17 would just wear down Vegeta pretty easily, right? Because if he keeps knocking Vegeta down, and they already have relative AP with basic scaling, because again, Vegeta would scale, well, 17 would scale to Vegeta. Even if you want to say like the blast with Jiren, that blowing himself up from the blast with Jiren is like, oh, that's a non-argument. You do realize like he can do the same thing to Vegeta and use far less energy because Vegeta does not scale to that blast. And then like, what else? You do realize that you need to prove that Vegeta's AP is relative to Jiren's AP to completely shatter the barrier, because Toppo's barrier was merely cracking the barrier, and then 17 dropped it. Let me try to find these. I don't have like my computer on me right now, so it's straight up booting up. So I don't have scanned at the moment. So yeah, that's kind of why that's why I'm kind of really hesitant on why you brought the pass scaling, because we're taking them in the 127 incarnation, saying who'd win in a fight.
Okay, first of all, no one was bringing up the pass. Well, no, I didn't say we weren't bringing the pass scaling. I said I said I was going to do ASSB Vegeta 127. You said, and I allowed you to use 17 from 127 too. So what? That doesn't mean that we can't use part scaling to help justify why Vegeta stronger. That's one. Two, you saying that 17 has relative combat, relative speed or reaction speed to Jiren? I mean, relative at reaction speed to Vegeta? It's irrelevant. Once again, because all 17 did was literally jump in the path of Jiren's attack and took that attack for him, and he was heavily hurt by that. And also, you keep on bringing up the fact that 17 kept on coming back more for more, and that apparently if he was that much weaker, he wouldn't have came back up. Well, the problem with that is we already know that 17 has infinite stamina, which is something that I already brought up and addressed in the first part of my debate. And in the first segment of my debate, I already covered everything that you literally just said. Now, what you just said is irrelevant overall because of the fact that, one, you're saying that everything that I said earlier is debunked by later scaling, but that later new scaling doesn't apply. Because what I brought up and what I did with the Jiren example and what you already said earlier in the debate was that Toppo by default was already cracking 17's barrier and getting rid of it with casual attacks. While it's elevated to such a level where Jiren, who's stronger than Toppo, literally performs a better feat by just flying through them. A series of them, in fact. If 17 is getting destroyed, if his barriers are getting flew through by this same Jiren, these same barriers that barely tanked a god Toppo, and this same Jiren is stronger, then what does that tell you? It means that 17 didn't necessarily get stronger, because if he did, his barriers would have performed better against Jiren, but they didn't. Jiren was blatantly overpowering them. And we know that this barrier is actually much more powerful, much more potent than what 17 himself can output. You can even go back to Aniraza and look at this. 17's barrier literally allowed him to go through an attack that was capable of stalemating 5 blue level characters at once, including 17. Meaning that barrier is by default a lot greater than he is. The fact that Jiren is flying through it casually like it doesn't exist literally shows the power difference, meaning that he doesn't scale to Jiren whatsoever. Vegeta, you could say he doesn't scale to Jiren either, and that basically he doesn't have the same attack potency. But what I can tell you is that he scales to somebody who was already stated to have scaled far greater than 17, which is God Toppo. Vegeta beat God Toppo. Easy scaling. That means that Vegeta would be far beyond 17. And because of the fact that 17's barriers were already getting broken by God Toppo, that means that Vegeta would do the same thing, especially with the final flash. He would annihilate 17.
I feel like you missed. So either you just did not watch the blast part, because I feel like you failed to realize that 17 can amp his barriers. It's not static or whatnot. You're trying to say they stagnate, that they're the same thing. You're trying to, like, you're pulling an association fallacy right here. You're trying to say that, like, oh, since they were cracking, they're all the same. It's like they're more potent barriers. Because, like, 17 also held up even more stronger barriers that Jiren's blast had to take time to crack through versus Jiren's, like, shattering through the punches with this punch. Are you telling me Jiren's punch is stronger than his full-powered blast just because he broke through a shit ton of barriers? Not all the barriers scale, like, linear. Like, I don't understand. Like, not all barriers are the same. 17 can amp them much higher than they should be. Also, you do realize that this would be similar to Vegeta versus 18, where Vegeta was just getting the upper hand and he would slowly dwindle in energy. So realistically speaking, if 17 has better durability feats than Vegeta, then he would just wear Vegeta out. And you can't say, well, durability doesn't mean anything. It's like, no, that's one of the main reasons why 18 won as well. She wore his stamina down and just bitch slapped him partially through there. unless you can prove that 17's power stagnates like Vegeta's when he's damaged, which isn't the case. Also, you keep going back to like, well, Vegeta beat Topo, but 17 couldn't. But it's like, okay, but I'm taking 127's 17, who has far greater feats. If you agreeing to that notion, because again, you're not really debunking 17 having relative combat speed. Because even if I don't take the AP, him having relative combat speed would be another basis of why he would wear down Vegeta. Because he would be able to react to Vegeta's attack. So it's like the Final Flash wouldn't do anything because you yourself would have to prove that the Final Flash is of the level of Jiren's blast.
Yo, Koala, you're done, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, with what you just said, what I'm hearing basically is this. That 17's reaction speed and 17's battle, it will basically be a battle of attrition according to you. That because 17 scales to Vegeta apparently, based off of feats, that with 17's infinite stamina and that the fact that he can react to Vegeta, that literally means that he'd be able to outlast Vegeta and that his power wouldn't stagnate, whereas Vegeta's would over time because Vegeta would get tired. That's what I'm hearing, correct?
I mean, I don't have to use AP in this battle. I really don't.
Bruh, that's what I just heard though, right?
It's not that I don't want to. I just don't have to because the onus is on you to prove that Vegeta can summon enough force that is somewhat relative to Jiren. Jiren's full-powered blast.
But already did. No, he doesn't need that amount of force because already proved that God Topo by default is far greater than 17. Did you not see how 17's barriers were getting cracked and destroyed by Topo's regular attacks?
But you're trying to associate. You're trying to associate the base barriers. Like you're not understanding that 17 can amp his barriers.
Oh yeah. By the way, on to your shield point. Can you explain to me, or not explain to me? Give me an instance where a barrier was amped beyond the regular barrier. Where 17 there's a disparity between 17.
So wait, are you trying to say that Jiren's basic punch is equivalent to when he charges a Ki Blast, a Ki Blast?
Did you know that Ki Blast was going? Did you know that Ki Blast was still going through those barriers?
Yeah, but they weren't one-shotting the barriers. So 17 had a much stronger barrier. Going by your logic, then the blast should have one-shotted 17, but it wasn't. 17 was holding it back with the barriers as well. It wasn't like the punch. So I got a question for you. Are you telling me Jiren's punch is stronger than his full-powered blast?
He created a lot of barriers, and those barriers were still getting run through by the blast.
Okay.
Eventually, he had like 2 barriers left. And then he put the barrier around Goku and Vegeta, and then the blast went through the last 2 barriers, and then he put a barrier around himself, and it exploded inside the attack. That's what happened. That still doesn't negate the fact that the barriers were getting destroyed by Jiren's attacks. And even if you want to say, oh, but certain barriers have different levels of, I don't know, power into them, right? That he could just amp his barriers. It doesn't matter because either way, they couldn't stop Jiren. No,
but you don't understand. You don't. Your argument predicates on the notion that the barriers are weaker than Vegeta, but Vegeta doesn't scale to Jiren's blast. And it's like, yes, 17 has, unless you're making the argument that Jiren's fist, right, is stronger than his Ki Blast that he charged up, that he threw, then no, that supports the notion that 17 can amp his barriers. And like he did it against Jiren when he charged his blast. So I have a question for you. Do you believe Jiren's basic punch was stronger than him charging a Ki Blast?
No, and I don't have to believe that.
You don't believe that, right? So 17 can amp his barriers. We've seen it. Because why was the barrier holding up the blast for at least, I would say, a few seconds, right?
Oh, now saying Labs is visible. Okay.
Yeah. So I think you don't understand. The argument, you're trying to argue that all barriers are the same and that Vegeta had enough AP because he beat Topo, who had enough AP to crack the barriers, right? And you're saying the Vegeta 127 can easily one-shot the barriers. I'm saying not all barriers are the same, and Vegeta has no AP feats to scale to the blast because 17 can also amp the barriers higher.
So thank you for saying that. Guess what? If 17 can amp his barriers, right? And there's different levels to the barriers, then what happens when 17 is caught using the wrong barrier according to your association? And then that shit gets
never made that claim. I said he amped the barrier. Just trying to associate the barriers are the same.
The barrier.
Okay, so I have another question. Can Vegeta summon enough force that is equivalent to what Jiren did when he like chatted out his aura and then one-shotted Blue Goku and Vegeta? Do you have any feats?
He doesn't need to. He doesn't need to.
Okay, so if it's weaker than the thing that 17 took, then how is he damaging him?
Then how is he damaging him, huh? Guess what? 17 was already getting damaged by Jiren's casual kicks. What are you talking about? Jiren's casual attacks are still putting him in the dirt. You want scans for that too?
I want to see like where it's like coughing up blood and shit. I want to see where 17 was completely done. Not blood, I mean like when he was completely like knocked out and he didn't get back up like Blue Goku and Vegeta did. But he still got back up. You don't understand. Does Vegeta have a lower AP than Jiren did in episode 127?
Okay, 2 scans. Real quick. One, it already says, well, no, that's the wrong one. Okay, here. Look, 117 is already on the ground wasted. Eventually, he gets back up. But that doesn't take away from the fact that he was already wasted alongside Goku and Vegeta for quite a while, right? That's 1. 2, 17 literally stated right here, we have infinite energy, meaning that they can keep bouncing back over and over again regardless. Whereas Goku and Vegeta were running at their limits. They've been constantly battling, and we know that eventually their stamina will die out. That's exactly what was stated the very next episode when Vegeta couldn't even go back into Super Saiyan Blue Evolution.
Okay,
Literally.
Question, where are you putting these scans? I don't see them.
Saiyan Labs. Okay, so that's another thing. And you ask me if Jiren's punch is stronger or weaker than Jiren's blast is irrelevant.
Someone link me that. I can't
17's
see the scans.
barrier was still getting ran through regardless. Even if you argue 17's barrier, withstood that attack for 2 seconds, that doesn't mean that it would also by default withstand a final flash. And you're trying to associate Jiren to Vegeta when that's irrelevant.
Can you prove that the final flash is stronger than Jiren's blast?
Can you prove that 17 is stronger than God's?
No. You made the claim first, and that's like he would not withstand the final flash. I would like you to prove that Vegeta's final flash, right, scales to that Jiren blast.
It doesn't need to scale to that Jiren blast.
Okay, so wait,
that's like
that doesn't make sense,
bro. Let me explain why. That's like saying 10 is greater than 4, and that 5 is greater than 4 as well.
No, that's a false equivalence again, Sin.
5, right?
No, Sin, you're making a false equivalence.
5 is still greater than 4.
Hold on.
That's
what you're trying to miss something is that that is because 17, right, is holding back a Jiren's blast that is like charged up. You're trying to say a final flash can do the same, but the issue is you're not scaling the final flash to the blast. So if the final flash is lower, right, is lower than Jiren's blast, then why would it break the barriers that are holding up a much stronger entity? You would need to suffice scaling to prove that Vegeta can summon that enough energy, which you have not. I do not have access to Saiyan Labs, so I can't see the scans.
Bruh, Koala. Literally. Let me explain something to you. It's a simple concept, okay? 1, we get that Vegeta is not Jiren level. That's clear. 17 is damn sure not Jiren level. That is clear. But it's also clear 17 is far weaker than the person that Vegeta beat. That is also clear. And before you cut in, let me explain something else about the barrier situation. Just because Jiren took 2 seconds to get through 17's barrier doesn't mean that Vegeta couldn't get through it too. Vegeta might take 10 seconds. Vegeta might take 20 seconds. Vegeta might take 30 seconds. Who cares? The fact of the matter is Vegeta's strong enough to get through the barrier regardless, and you cannot debunk that. All you're doing is asking me how can Vegeta get through the barrier just because Jiren took 2 seconds to do it. That's irrelevant. Even if Vegeta is lower than Jiren in power, that doesn't mean Vegeta himself can't get through the barrier.
But with what proof? That's not retarded because you're trying to scale Vegeta. You're trying to say he has the AP to break a much stronger variation. But you didn't. You're trying to quantify something you can't. So
did I not provide a scan saying that 17?
Bro, I can't see the scans.
But you should have access to the channel right now. I gave you the role.
But you know what those scans are.
Oh wait, where is it located?
Under complaints and suggestions, you should see Saiyan Labs. It's above the voice chat that we're in.
Give me a sec, okay?
It's literally a clone chat where it's literally right above.
Yeah. Whenever I click on Saiyan Labs, it just shows me the VC.
Make sure you don't have the thing. Make sure you have the entire thing drop down.
I have the entire thing dropped down.
Just like Atom or something. Try like Atom in the actual textile and see if that works.
This is why I agree with this thing being in here.
God, Topo's freaking regular Justice Flash, or those torpedo of those barrage of key attacks were basically casually breaking through 17's barrier. Casually. We know that Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Vegeta defeated this Topo outright in terms of raw power. Why couldn't Vegeta perform the same feat?
Okay,
and before you say 17 got stronger, which there's nothing to suggest that he got stronger than God Topo.
Okay, so okay, we're putting in Dragon Ball discussions. Okay. One, I don't understand why you keep referring to this because, okay, so one, you do realize that Vegeta in 127 is stronger, right, than God Topo, even when depleted of energy, right? Do you agree to that?
What, him being stronger than God Topo? Yeah, of course.
Okay. So would you let's say that even though they're depleted of quote unquote energy, they're still stronger. So they still need higher levels of attacks would be needed to take them down. Because again, if they get stronger, it's the same thing with Frieza on the Hakai. Frieza did get stronger because he's taking a higher level of attacks. I'm not saying durability equals power, I'm just saying they got stronger. The thing is, the same Jiren that one-shotted both Goku and Vegeta, right, couldn't one-shot 17, right? 17, you could say, well, infinite stamina. That still supports my notion that Vegeta cannot put 17 down because Vegeta is fighting a stronger 17 who can amp his barriers. And 17's barriers is a form of hacks that Vegeta cannot counter. Now I'm going to address the Topo point. Yes, 17 standing there, but you don't realize that Topo is slowly cracking the barrier. It's not one-shotting the barrier. So if you want to say Vegeta is stronger, that means he's just going to like crack the barrier even further. That's kind of it. And then if you want to go by the narrator statement, well, why would someone weaker be able to like have better feats than they were in the prior episode? I don't understand why you keep clinging to this consistency thing when characters can get stronger over time. Like, why it's pretty retarded to assume 17 would stagnate and just be one level throughout the entire TOP. It doesn't make any sense. Let me see. But like, yeah, you do realize you miss like a big portion of like the final blast where he spawns like 6 barriers and the barriers are able to withstand the blast for a certain amount of time. Yes, the blast is still getting past them, but it's like, unless you have any proof that Jiren's full-powered blast is weaker than his basic punch, then no. You would have to scale Vegeta to that level. Just because he is stronger than God Topo does not mean he can one-shot the barriers. It's friggin' retarded. Because it's displayed that Jiren, someone that scales to that Jiren, can one-shot the barriers. And it's also proven that that Jiren needed a full-powered blast to get past even more stronger barriers, which was able to hold 17 even further. Okay? Jiren also was displaying more power, right, than Vegeta. He scaled way above, and he one-shotted them, a much stronger variation. So I don't understand your notion. You're not scaling Vegeta to Jiren, so why should I take your scaling when Vegeta's inferior to someone that can one-shot it? Like, you're just going off of, like, association. It's like, well, Topo can crack it. That means Vegeta can one-shot it. It's like, no, the feat need to be there because Jiren one-shotted it because he's stronger than it by quite the margin, but you're not providing the scaling for that. I'm going to go over the number example. The number example does not work in this because let's say you're solar system level, right? Let's say Topo is solar system level and he's cracking the barrier, right? Let's say 17 performs galaxy level feats by fighting Jiren and Jiren's able to one-shot that, but Vegeta scales above solar system, right? But he's not galaxy level. Would he be able to get past the barriers? Probably not. That's what I'm trying to say, that the 1 in 127 is a stronger variation. He performs better feats. And you agreeing that they have relative combat speed and the fact that his barriers does amp doesn't just supports my argument even further. Because similar to 17, you would have to prove Vegeta's Final Flash is on the level of Jiren's full power charge blast, which required 17 to use all his Genki to at least diffuse. Your turn, boy.
First of all, you said the numbers example doesn't work. Okay, let me show you why, once again, why I brought that up. The first reason being, you kept on saying that Jiren's full power blast took a certain XYZ amount of time to get through 17's barriers and that it wasn't instantaneous. The same way that Jiren was casually flying through 17's barriers earlier in the episode. So the problem with that is, if we acknowledge the fact that 17's barriers were still getting stomped out by Jiren's attack, right? And even though Vegeta is weaker than this Jiren, that doesn't mean that Vegeta with a little more time couldn't perform the same feat. Because we see that based off of the fact that God Topo, but whether you want to say, oh, it's 17, just it's a weakened barrier or whatever, whether you want to say that or not, 17's casual barrier, the barrier that he usually ignites during battle, was getting ate up by Topo's regular Justice Flash. A Justice Flash that is no potency in comparison to the Final Flash, which has already been shown to be a multiplier on top of your already existing power, as in is much stronger than the user. So basically, based off of that, based off of the fact that the freaking Justice Flash was even able to pierce 17's barrier and casually break it with just a little bit of rapid fire, then what do you think Vegeta can actually do to it? One fell swoop or one single strong attack would be enough to break through those barriers. Even though we know that 17 obviously has, to a degree, slightly better barriers when he used it against Jiren's attack, that doesn't mean that Vegeta's Final Flash couldn't eventually pierce through it eventually. It doesn't matter that he can't do it instantaneously if the result is that 17's barriers will end up being defunct, and the fact is Vegeta will literally be able to one-shot 17 unless 17 self-destructed. And if he self-destructed, then obviously that would take him out of the fight for a little bit, because we know that's what happened from 127 to 131. Because after he self-destructed, he never came back in until the end. And he said that it was a gamble for his life, so 50-50 chance he could have died while doing it. Meaning that the Final Flash, regardless of the result, doesn't bode well for 17. And don't cut me off because I'm not done. So that debunks the first point. The second point, the reaction speed. That's irrelevant. Even if 17 is relative to Vegeta in terms of reaction speed, that just means that he's able to kind of swap hands with Vegeta. Vegeta is still overwhelmingly stronger than him. 17 can react to, but Vegeta will still be able to tag him simply because of the fact that one, Saiyans get stronger as they fight, and they evolve as they fight too, meaning that if push came to shove, he would just evolve beyond 17's power, and 17 would be left hanging, useless. Because we know that Saiyans evolve as they fight, right? So that, coupled with the fact that 17 being relative to Vegeta, doesn't put 17 above Vegeta, meaning that Vegeta can still tag and hit 17 with devastating blows. And we know that other characters have been able to go around the barrier even when 17's strategy was to outlast them, or basically make them run out of stamina and basically just abuse his barrier and all the other shit, and abuse his infinite stamina. Base Topo was able to go through that and literally bodies 17 to the point where 17 was about to get eliminated until Frieza intervened. So we know that 17's barrier in his battle of attrition can be overcome through simple raw power, something that Vegeta clearly demonstrates above 17. And even though you keep bringing up 127, that still doesn't debunk the prior scaling. And none of the feats that you said debunks the notion that 17 is far weaker than God Topo, something that was already established prior to that. And you're going to keep saying that, 17 was able to come back from Jiren's attacks over and over again, and that you need a stronger power in order to put 17 down. Well, the thing with that is, Jiren, he was already focused on Goku and Vegeta as well until 17 was the last one standing. And then basically that's when he did the final blast shit to try to take them all out. 17 wasn't directly attacked multiple times by Jiren to the point where Jiren was only focusing on 17. Because if that was the case, you best believe 17 would have been out of the arena by now. Simple. His interest was on Goku and Vegeta because they're Saiyans. Also, that doesn't mean that 17 himself cannot actually take on somebody directly, because he's always trying to find openings against everybody, including Jiren in that episode. Whereas Goku and Vegeta are fighting them on head on, because that's the only thing they know how to do, and that's what they can do. Something that 17 can't. Clearly showing that 17 is still weaker than both of them. So with all of that being said, you still haven't proven that 17 is stronger than God Topo. You're going to keep bringing up feats to try to do it, but you can't. It's that simple.
Question. Do you believe the Final Flash Vegeta used against Jiren when Jiren was chatting out could one-shot 17?
Which Final Flash?
The one that he used against Jiren when Jiren was like taking all three of their blasts. Do you believe that could one-shot 17?
Why not?
Okay, so you agree that it would, right? So let me debunk that quickly. Do you believe that Jiren's blast is stronger than the Final Flash that 17? Stronger than the Final Flash that Vegeta threw at him?
I already debunked that point.
No, you didn't. Sure. No, you didn't. You just said that you said that the Final Flash, right, could one-shot 17. The one that shot it at Jiren when Jiren was powering up to one-shot everyone. You said that word for word. So I have a question. Is Jiren's chatting out aura, right, when he one-shot all three of them, was that not stronger than the Final Flash that you claim that could one-shot 17?
Guess what?
No. Do you agree that it's stronger?
Do I agree that Jiren's aura is stronger than the Final Flash? Yeah, because it was repelling the Final Flash.
Okay, and 17, and what happened to 17? What happened to the stronger Goku and Vegeta? They were done. 17 got back up and was willing to fight. So your entire argument of the Final Flash one-shotting 17 is done. The argument's gone. Because you agreed that
that wasn't even an argument. The only time
you said that the Final Flash would be able to one-shot 17.
You just asked me that question. That's what I said.
Yeah, I did. Because one of your arguments predicates that the Final Flash would be able to shatter the barrier and one-shot 17. But I proved to you 17's basic durability, he would out-endure the Final Flash because it's weaker than the shit he's gotten hit by. So why would it even affect him? It wouldn't affect him. You would have to prove that Vegeta can summon enough energy that equates to Jiren's aura or the full powered blast, which you have yet to do.
Did you not see the image that I posted earlier?
Did he get back up or not? Was he knocked out or did he not get back up?
He was wasted and then he got back up eventually. And
he withstood the attack. So Vegeta can't one shot him. That's what you're saying. He can't one shot 17, even with the strongest attack. No, he can.
Vegeta can waste his bitch ass.
No, he can't.
He'll blow his ass up.
No. You just said he can, but you agreed to the notion that his Final Flash could one-shot him, but 17 took something way stronger than that. And he got back up.
Koala, you know what the problem with that is?
No, there's no problem with that.
Jiren's force was blocking all three of their blasts, but that doesn't mean that force...
But you already agreed to the notion that it's already stronger than the Final Flash. Nah, you're dodging around that point that it's stronger than the Final Flash, and 17 took that, and he got back up. So Vegeta, you need to scale Vegeta to that. If not, the Final Flash cannot one-shot. This is a stronger Vegeta by your own admission, and you said, yeah, this is a stronger Vegeta, and he's taking something that's far stronger than that Vegeta. Okay, so no. Your entire argument falls apart off that.
No, that's because you're hinging on the logic that the force of Jiren's aura also correlates to attack potency.
Prove that it's not.
Prove that it's not. Prove that it is, because that's what.
No, you're not. Wait, why would it be? If it's overpowering two different attacks, right, that are stated to be strong, like the Final Flash was stronger than 17, why would it not be correlated to one's attack potency? It's a form of an attack. He is attacking you with ki. If I forgot, he's attacking you with a form of ki. It's just like an energy wave, or like whatever the hell Vegeta did in the Saiyan saga. Something similar to that. He's just releasing his ki, to affect them, if I remember correctly. Why would it not be correlated to his AP? Then what the hell is it correlated to?
What the hell is it correlated to? It's correlated to the fact that the force of Jiren's energy was keeping everything else at bay. But that doesn't mean that same energy applied the same force that it used to keep at bay on Goku, Vegeta, and 17.
Prove that it's not.
You can't prove that. Prove that it does.
No, don't shift the burden of proof on me. You're making that claim.
Nah, you just said you made the claim. You made the claim first.
I made the claim that it was a ki-based attack. Is he not hitting them with ki? Sin, is he not using ki to hit them?
He's using his aura, not a blast.
Okay, so is his aura a part of his ki? Like when Jiren powers up, is he not using ki?
Yes, he's using ki. Does the aura have the potency of a blast? No, it does not.
Prove that it doesn't.
prove that it doesn't.
Don't shift the burden of proof on me. You made the claim that it was not correlated to his basic AP. I would like. No, I only said that he took something that was able to repel, like one-shot both Goku and Vegeta and the Final Flash. So why would it not be directly correlated to his AP? What are they getting hit by then? Like, I don't understand.
On the ground wasted. Literally. I have posted
Okay, so he's on the ground wasted, but he still gets back up. That's not one-shotting someone.
By that point, Vegeta would just capitalize and blow his head off.
But he can't, if his strongest ability cannot one-shot him, and the strongest ability is weaker than something he has taken prior, and he has gotten backed up unscathed, why would it one-shot 17?
Dude, you just missed what I said.
You just admitted that the Final Flash Vegeta threw at Jiren was enough to one-shot him, correct? You just said...
If I gave you
even
if I gave you no, look, let's say even if I did give you that, right? You know, Jiren's already, he's stronger than Final Flash. And of course it is because he kept it at bay and he attacked 17 with it. And then 17 was on the ground wasted. Just because 17 gets wasted by a stronger attack doesn't mean that he wouldn't get wasted by the Final Flashes. It's literally
I think you're missing that point, and you realize when you say he can get wasted by the same attack, you still have to prove Vegeta's attack scales to that.
And I did. I didn't have to prove that scale to Jiren.
You keep scaling him to God Topo, and I'm like, no, the feats contradict that.
It was that
you keep scaling. No, it's a circular logic with you. It's like you'll go back to God Topo, then come back to this, then go back to God Topo. It's like, no, the feats are like for 127, he's taking higher attacks than God Topo. Like it's set in stone. And you yourself just admitted that like the Final Flash was enough to one shot, but 17 gets back up from a stronger attack.
17 getting back up speaks to his infinite stamina.
Okay, and that is not like I don't understand what
didn't permanently put him down. But what I'm saying is he doesn't necessarily need to have Jiren levels of attack potency in order to put him on the dirt. If you can put 17 on the dirt, you can win. 17 will go. Vegeta will go over there and blow his head off.
Okay, simple. You're still not scaling
Vegeta.
Vegeta.
Not giving me any closure to basically say. You're not giving me any context to debunk the notion that the Final Flash couldn't replicate Jiren's feat just because the Final Flash is weaker. That's all you're saying.
Yeah, it's
just
much
because
weaker.
An attack is weaker than Jiren's attack, and that Jiren attack floored 17 doesn't mean the Final Flash can't also floor 17.
Prove that the so why would something much weaker
is stronger than God Topo, and God Topo is far stronger than 17?
Yeah, so so you're pulling a circular reasoning here, Sin. You keep going back. No, you keep pulling circular reasoning. You say that, well, he can do it. So even though Jiren can do it, Vegeta can do it because he's stronger than Topo, even though 17 has taken attacks and he's gotten back up from a much stronger attack, which makes no sense. It's like, you just admitted it's weaker, so why would it affect?
I'm using circular reasoning? You're saying that I'm using circular reasoning.
Yes, you keep going back to Topo being stronger than 17.
17 got back up from Jiren's aura.
Okay, but then no, that's still, and then you go back to, well, it's infinite stamina. It's like that still supports my notion that he would wear down Vegeta because a weaker attack wouldn't be able to affect him.
And once again,
and then you can't disregard the speed being equalized.
When I said that once Vegeta floors 17, like 17's wasted, Vegeta would just pounce on 17, blow his head off. While he's on the ground quivering and trying to get back up.
Okay, can you prove that the Final Flash is somewhat relative to that blast, that it can floor 17? Prove it. Prove it that it can floor 17. Somehow scale it to that blast or somewhat relative to it.
All right, the next 3 minutes, we're going to decide who wins it, okay?
Okay. So do we just give our conclusions? Because I'm like, we're running out of time.
Yeah, give your conclusions.
Okay, so Sin, you go first.
I guess Paul, you go first.
Okay, I'm just saying, like, I would just, so I didn't really need AP to win, to say why 17 won, because 17 would just outlast Vegeta. He has shown feats of him taking stronger attacks that are way above Vegeta. So yeah, I don't know why they keep going, like, even though above Hakai Shintopo and whatever. Yeah, that's my conclusion. Sin, you can go with your conclusion.
Okay, so all in all, I've consistently proven that God Topo is stronger than 17, just by statements and by feats, and by 17's own admission that base Topo and God Topo are both stronger than him. He hasn't really proven that 17 has gotten stronger. All of the feats that he said, I've covered and debunked them. Even the explosion feat. That's irrelevant. He already tossed that out the window. He never went back to it in his argument. That I've also proven that Vegeta is stronger than God Topo, who's shown capacity or capability in being able to destroy 17's barriers, meaning that Vegeta, who is stronger than God Topo and who can also increase his power during the fight as a Saiyan, would also be able to do the same feat, if not do it greater. And he keeps on saying that, oh, but Vegeta, that Jiren took a little bit of time to get through 17's barriers at the end with his full power blast. Well, that's irrelevant because Vegeta, he could take a longer time, but that still doesn't mean that he wouldn't be able to get through the barriers himself.